Regular meeting of June 3rd, 2024 to order. And we will start off with the public hearing for the 2024 Neighborhood Assistance Act. Is there anyone who would like to, or roll call, please?
Counselor Sakala is absent. Counselor Crissati?
Here.
Counselor Finger?
Here.
Counselor Hendrickson?
Here.
Counselor Ludwig?
Here.
Counselor Mangini? Here. Counselor Nasuda?
Here.
Mayor Nelson?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Pisner? Here. Counselor Santinella?
Here.
And Counselor Ungary? Here. 10 members are present, 1 is absent.
Thank you. And then, Chris or Steve, would you like to just give a quick synopsis of the Neighborhood Assistance Act and what we're doing the public hearing for? Please hold.
Maybe, usually Cindy does it. I don't know if she's already left the building. We do it every year. People apply, and it's the same, but beyond that, I don't have anything further to clarify on it.
This is a standard, right?
Quick point of order. Sheila, don't we usually have a little, we open up the public hearing, there's a little sheet
We only have the sign-up sheets for the budget hearing.
where we just say,
Yeah, the rules of the public
Right.
hearing that the mayor,
right,
is it not in your
I don't
packet?
see it, I don't know what you have, I don't see it.
That was probably because the town clerk was covering for the
I don't have anything for
the
the
town
public
manager's
hearing.
assistant.
Yeah.
So it's really the rules that the public is allowed to speak for up to 5 minutes, and yes.
Right. So we'll go with the regular rules. In the event of a fire, there's 2 means of exits out of the council chamber. Exit out the rear doors, walk a safe distance away from the building, or exit through the side doors, go down 1 flight of stairs and out the doors, and also a safe distance. For the public hearing, any person who wishes to address the council shall first be recognized by the chair and shall state their name and address for the record. They shall limit their remarks to 5 minutes. After each person who desires has had a chance to speak, those desiring to speak a second time will be permitted to do so and limit their remarks to 3 minutes. And this will go for 3 rounds. During the public hearing, I ask that you refrain from personalities and keep the topic strictly to the Neighborhood Assistance Act, and we can go forward from there. So is there anyone who would like to speak for or against? Karen, come on up.
Looks like the red light is on. I'll give you a little rundown on the program. It's a tax credit assistance program. Oh, Karen LaPlante, 166 North Maple Street. It's a tax credit program that the state funds every year for $5 million, and it's capped at $5 million. So any Connecticut corporation that files Chapter 207, 208, 209, 210, 211, and 212 taxes, state taxes, are eligible to make donations to the applicants that are approved for the program each year. Each town has a program that nonprofits and so forth apply for. So we have 3 applications tonight, and Hasville Institute, which I represent, is one of them, and the Opera House Players are the other 2. The maximum each business could give is $150,000 a year. So if a Connecticut corporation owes the state $20,000 in taxes at the end of their fiscal year, they can send that money directly to one of these programs. They have to pledge it in between September 15th and October 1st, but the money doesn't have to go to the state. This is money that can come right to our town. And it's really a great program, and I wish every corporation would take advantage of it. If you don't know what your tax liability is going to be, you can carry this donation back 2 years for your corporation. So if last year you owed $15,000 in taxes, you can go back and take the credit on that year. You would probably have to refile your corporate tax return and adjust it, but you could do it. But the money goes directly to the organizations that you approve. So it's really a way to get money directly without the town having to apply for it. We do active fundraising for this. I don't know what the Opera House Players does, but each organization our application cannot be for more than 150,000. So they've applied for more for 2 different projects, energy efficient projects, but they're more than 150. But they'll be capped at 150. We'll be capped at 150. So if we could convince companies we work for, corporations, Connecticut corporations, and we've had good luck with Eversource, between Yankee Gas and Connecticut Light and Power, and there's a bunch of others that regularly give this money. Banks have donations all the time, and so forth. And it's 100%. So if they give us $5,000, they get $5,000 off their tax liability for that year. And they have to apply, like I said, between September 15th and October 1st, so it's kind of a tight period of time, you got to remember. And then the state sends them a note back, a confirmation back, you're eligible, and you can do it for this amount. So if they happen to get more than $5 million in donations, pledges for these organizations, then they will prorate the amount. But I don't know that they've had to do that in the past. But there are some companies, some utility companies that just give $150,000 to their organizations in town, and they're great. It's a great way to take care of your tax liability. So I would encourage anybody that works for a corporation, a Connecticut corporation that might be liable for taxes, ask them to support either our projects in Enfield or one in another town that they have people that live there, and it would be real helpful to the nonprofits. And I hope you approve the program for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Karen, for the explanation.
Mr. Mayor, can I just add, if anyone has any questions, they can contact Christy Koisonen at 860-253-6390 in the Department of Economic and Community Development.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to come up for the first time? For the second time? Seeing none, motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor? The public hearing is closed. Okay, now we will start our regular meeting of the June 3rd, 7 p.m. And may we all rise for a prayer by Councilman Crisati.
Good evening. The month of June recognizes 2 important celebrations, Pride and Juneteenth. May we welcome diversity and inclusion within our community. May we make a commitment to the LGBTQ plus community as a symbol of our unity and affirmation of the belief that we are better together. And may we celebrate the Ujima African American Alliance, the first African American organization in Enfield, and urge all of us to become more aware of the significance of this celebration of the African American history and the heritage of our town. And at this time, I am asking all of us for a moment of silence for the fallen Connecticut State Trooper, Mr. Pelletier, and our condolences go out to his family, friends, and colleagues of the Connecticut State Police. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And can we have roll call, please?
Counselor Crisati.
Here.
Counselor Finger.
Here.
Counselor Hendrickson.
Here.
Counselor Ludwig.
Here.
Counselor Mangini.
Here.
Counselor Nasuda.
Here.
Mayor Nelson.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Pisner.
Here.
Counselor Santinella.
Here.
Counselor Ungary.
Here.
And Counselor Sakala is absent. That's 10 members are present, 1 is absent.
Thank you, Sheila. And we did the fire evacuation announcement. Moving on to the minutes of preceding meetings, the regular meeting of May 20th, 2024.
So moved. Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Are there any corrections, comments, or concerns? Seeing none. All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. And now we are going to move into special guests. Tonight we have Executive Director Michelle Puzo from UR Community Cares. Come on up.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Make sure the red light is on.
It is, yes. Should I state my address?
No.
Okay. So, yes, my name is Michelle Puzo. I'm the Executive Director of Your Community Cares. And I am here today to try to urge Enfield residents to get more involved with the community and to really supporting the aging population and the disabled population here in Enfield. So I'm the co-founder of Your Community Cares. We started the organization in 2019 as an effort to connect neighbors to neighbors. I am a physical therapist, and I saw going into my patients' homes how many people needed more support in their homes, and they couldn't pay for private caregivers, or they didn't qualify for state programs. So you have many of that population here in Enfield, and the goal is to connect them to volunteers that can provide some transportation, some companionship, housework, yard work. So we received a grant from the Enfield Greater Together Community Fund from the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving. So we already have a grant to be able to operate in this town, so we're not asking for funding. All we're asking for is support to try to get the word out to residents that this program exists. We know that there is many aging people that, for example, can't put air conditioners in their windows. They might not be able to garden or mow their lawns anymore. They might not be able to transport themselves to the doctor. So what we do is town by town, we try to recruit volunteers that can help support this demographic as they're aging in place. And that's vital because we don't want people to have to go to nursing homes that would like to stay home, but they would like to keep up their homes, and they may have mobility problems, they may have vision problems, and just need a little extra support at home. So we are available to we have many aging residents that are already reaching out to us that need support. And so what we're hoping for is to get social services, the police department, the fire department, to try to really market the town to all that the volunteers can do to help this population of people. So that's it. We are just here to help really connect residents. So people can go to our website, yourcommunitycares.org, and that's where they can sign up.
Great. Any questions? Go ahead, Councilman Finger.
Hi, good evening. Thank you very much for that. So are you in charge of is it like a regional thing, or is it just local?
We're a statewide organization, so our website is where each town, if you signed up to be a volunteer, you could see all the volunteer opportunities in your town. So it's a town-by-town operation through the website. But if people don't have a computer or a phone, they can call us, and we can sign them up, and we can run their accounts for them.
And how would they find your phone number if they don't have internet?
So I have tons of flyers. We know social services, and that's the goal, is to try to get our information into the hands of those people. So contacting social services, they can get more resources, including our phone number and our website, depending on.
Would you be so kind as to read the phone number for me, please?
Oh, sure. 860-430-4557. And I have some flyers that I can leave on the table in case anyone is interested.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and good job.
Thank you.
Councilman Ludwig.
Welcome. Curious, do you work with like homemakers and, some of the private organizations that go into folks' homes? And do you have people do like what's called the activities of daily living assessment? Or is it just simply to provide, you're not doing assessment, you're just trying to help folks?
Right. This is
Right.
not.
Is there a friendly transfer though? I mean, if some folks really do need maybe more help than your organization, whatever organization you're working with?
Oh, yeah, we always refer out. So
Got it.
these are just volunteers. They're not doing licensed work of any kind. It's not personal care. It's not plumbing. It's not anything related to activities of daily life in that way. It would just be household chores, organizing, companionship, that kind of thing. So we are not at that level.
Got it. No.
And we would refer people to agencies like that need that extra support.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Anyone else? Deputy Mayor Pisner.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
So Michelle and I have had numerous conversations. I met her, I think it was back in February, when you had the first seminar. And I was impressed with it because I do a lot of work with the elderly in town, and I just see it as a win-win. One of the things I liked about it was it opened a door for people to get to know one another, like she said, neighbors helping neighbors. And I think we've kind of lost that someplace in transition in these days. So, with the senior minor repair not being part of it anymore, it's the air conditioners. I have a Boy Scout troop that I think is going to be reaching out to you. I just think getting the word out there that volunteers, it's no liability for the town, and they do all the processing. So I think it's a win-win. It's just getting the word out there to get people on board to volunteer. And again, it can be like a one-time thing. It could be whatever time they have, which I think is important too. You're not committed to something.
Absolutely.
Correct?
Yep, and church groups could sign up, high schools could sign up to volunteer together, nonprofits, businesses could have their employee days and things like that. So we're really trying to get people to take care of each other in town.
Anyone else?
Okay,
Seeing
thank you
none,
very much for having
Thank
me.
you very much.
Thank you, Michelle.
Okay, moving on, we're going to get into public communications. Any person who wishes to address the council shall first be recognized by the chair and shall state their name and address for the record. They shall limit their remarks to 5 minutes. After each person who desires has had a chance to speak, those desiring to speak a second time will be permitted to do so and shall limit their remarks to 3 minutes. During public communications, item number 7 on the agenda, public members shall limit their remarks to 2 rounds for a total of 8 minutes. During public communications, item 16 on the agenda, if prior to 11 p.m., each person shall limit their remarks to 3 minutes. Public communication shall be limited to 1 hour unless extended by a majority vote of the council. All remarks shall be addressed to the council as a whole and not to any individual member. All remarks addressed to the administration of the town shall be addressed to the town manager and not to an individual employee. Public members shall observe proper decorum and good conduct and shall refrain from personalities and improper language. Thank you. Who would like to come up and speak? Jen?
Good evening. Jennifer Briette, 83 Park Ave. On Wednesday, May 29th, the Enfield Board of Education held a special meeting to publicly present how they would implement the draconian cuts made to their requested budget. A budget that they were clear was needed to maintain the status quo. A budget that the Republican majority of this town council refused to fully fund. We are losing more than 129 teachers and staff, cutting $150,000 from nutrition services, cutting transportation for Head Start, sharing librarians between elementary schools, eliminating the 6th grade world language program, returning study halls at the high school, eliminating career counselors, eliminating the EMT and college connection programs. And after Mr. Longy presented the exhaustive list of the personnel and program cuts he has had to make in order to keep the doors open at all of our schools, the outcry from 2 board members that didn't even vote for the 8.68% increase, how do we fund the middle school and 9th grade sports teams that will be eliminated? One board member suggested moving funds from a property category, which includes accounts for new equipment instruction, new equipment non-instruction, furniture and fixtures, replace equipment instruction, and replace equipment non-instruction, without even knowing what is included in these amounts. Mr. Longy explained that these funds would be used to build specialized de-escalation or blue rooms. Then, Mr. Mayor, you went to the Hartford Courant and you said, I will do everything in my power to get sports back in our schools, because for a lot of children, the only reason they stay focused in school is because of sports. You had the power. It's called fully funding the education budget as requested. What you do not have is the power to tell the Board of Education how to spend the money you have allocated to them. Per the Town Charter, Section 8, Department of Finance, Paragraph C, the purchasing agent of the town shall purchase all supplies, materials, equipment, and other commodities required by any department, agency, board, or commission of the town except the Board of Education and the probate court. Also per the Town Charter, Section 14, salaries. Salaries of all directors and other employees of the classified service of the town shall be determined by the council in conformity with a systematic pay plan for the positions involved upon recommendation of the manager, provided nothing herein shall be construed to limit the power of the Board of Education to fix the compensation of the employees of the school system. What you also do not have is the power to offer the Board of Education town funds to directly pay the sports costs with an MOU. Now let's look at the list of Enfield High activities other than sports that may be affected. Amateur Radio Club, Aperture, Art Club, Bass Guitar, Board Game Club, Cardio Club, Ceramic Studio Time, Chemistry Club, Chess Club, Coloring Club, Contract Bridge Club, Cornhole Club, Crochet Club, Cursive Writing Club, Diplomacy Board Game Club, Diversity Club, Dungeons and Dragons, Eagle Nest News, Empty Bowls, Enfield High School Youth Vote, Fantasy Sports Club, FBLA, Flag Football, French National Honor Society, Friends of Rachel, Games Club, Garden Club, Gay Straight Alliance, GSA Extra Support, Honors Physics Enrichment Session, Interior Design Club, Juggling Club, Kahoot Club, Language and Culture Club, Latin Club, Junior Classical League, Latin Music, Leo Club, Literary Magazine, Math Team, Mindfulness Club, Model UN, Newspaper Club, Nintendo Club, Ping Pong Club, Poetry Club, Printmaking Club, Pro Start Management Club, Rubik's Cube Puzzles Club, SAT Reading and Language Practice, Skills USA Club, Spanish Club, Spanish Children's Reading Book Club, Spanish National Honor Society, Spike Ball, Student Technology Club, Sustainability Club, Tri-M Music Honor Society, Writing Center. And the list of activities that may not be offered at JFK: Rachel's Challenge, GSA, Spanish Club, Color Guard, Sound Club, Crochet Club, Disney in Espanol, Creative Writing Club, Poetry in Enfield, Dungeons and Dragons Club, English for Speakers of Other Languages Homework Club, North Team Homework Club, Debate Team, Fashion Club.
Jen, I'm sorry.
The list goes on. You should be ashamed.
Thank you, Jen. Anyone else? Donna.
Donna Dubanowski, 23 Betty Road. I'd like to discuss the BOE 2023-2024 budget, the one that's ending this month. I want to know how there can be a $6 million budget shortfall and that we're currently facing from that budget. The budgeted amount of $75 million. I want to know how you spend $81 million and somehow they didn't know anything about it until the Republicans took over in November. How's that possible? The superintendent and the Board of Ed should have been aware of these financial issues and should have transparently reported them. Allowing such a significant deficit to accumulate without action or public disclosure is unacceptable. A forensic audit is essential to investigate the underlying causes of these financial problems and ensure accountability on both the Board of Ed and the town. The consistent assertions of no issues to report in the monthly BOE financial reports, despite this evident financial shortfall, is concerning. How can the public financial reporting have been so inaccurate? Additionally, Board of Ed members wearing CEA T-shirts during official meetings could be perceived as endorsing a specific union or organization. As elected officials, that should probably be avoided in the future. It's very important to clarify that the Town Council can never directly cut the Board of Ed budget. It would need an appeal, which has never been done that I'm aware of. The $6 million shortfall from the last 2 years underscores the urgent need for significant reforms to prevent such budget shortfalls in the future. The Board of Ed does not have a credit card to spend recklessly, and the situation emphasizes the critical necessity of a forensic audit. Republicans won a supermajority by promising not to raise taxes, and they are fulfilling that promise. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Ma'am?
Hi, Kathy Brunel, 2 Woodbridge Drive. I'm here on a slightly different topic than education, although I do strongly believe in funding education. I'm here in concerning the Abbey Road sidewalk. I live right near Abbey Road in the Abbeywood Estates. I frequently walk and run on Abbey Road. When we received notification that the town was going to be doing a repaving and adding new sidewalks to that area, it was the best news we could receive because so many of us do use that area. It was unsafe for us before to have to cross the street or to move out of the way of traffic. It meant we were up on people's lawns because we had no sidewalk to get up to. Now with the sidewalk and crosswalks put in, it's a much safer area for us. Personally, like I said, I walk and run there frequently. I have grandchildren, 4 grandchildren under the age of 4. It's a great place now to be able to take them for a walk, that I can safely cross the street with them. And also, another concern as we hear about other budgets in this town is the cost. The sidewalks obviously had to be paid for, the paving had to be paid for, and now to turn around and pull up what appear to be perfectly good, brand new sidewalks, and then have to do whatever you'd have to do to cover up the dirt and stuff where the sidewalks were, just seems like a major waste of tax money that could be better spent in another area. There's doesn't seem to be a totally legitimate cause to pulling up brand new sidewalks. I understand maintenance for some of the neighbors whose property borders that sidewalk is something, but that you're talking just a couple days a year, really, that it snows or that the sidewalks might need to be cleaned compared to the numerous days and the numerous people who use that sidewalk all the time. I feel like that majority outweighs what bad weather could possibly affect for the people whose property does border that. I feel it's very important to keep the sidewalks there for the generations now who are using it for walking, people who are there in wheelchairs, people who are pulling strollers, and to say nothing about people who may move into the community in the future. And you look at Abbey Road, and it's you could consider it a slightly busy road, but knowing that there's safety sidewalks to use if you chose to live in that area may make that area more appealing for any new incoming residents. So I am just asking that we please, please, please keep the sidewalks intact as they are now. They're beautiful sidewalks, they're nice and level, they're safe for just about any type of, transportation that might need it, the wheelchairs, the strollers, people running. It's just a great, safe place to be, and I believe it's a major benefit to the neighborhood, and it just makes it a more appealing place. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Are you together?
Yes.
Come on up. George, you're on deck.
Thank you. My name is Karen Tarnowitz, my husband Michael Tarnowitz, and we live at 24 Abbey Road. We're one of the 4 properties that the Abbey Road sidewalks affects. I understand what other people might say about the sidewalk, but our major concern with the sidewalk is we were never notified that the sidewalks were being put in. Roads 2021 states that they were going to repave the roadway and fix the existing sidewalks. It did not state they were putting in new sidewalks on our end of Abbey Road. Because of this, we woke up one morning on October 13th. It was a Friday morning, and our yard was being torn up. No notification that this was going to happen. We ran outside and they said, well, what are you doing? They said, we're putting in sidewalks. We immediately contacted then mayor and said, we do not know what's going on. We want the construction to stop. He called us and said, I will have it stopped. I will find out what's going on. I'll get to the bottom of this. On Monday, October 16th, we were visited by the town engineer, who told us that on Thursday, October 12th, he was told by a subcommittee that there was going to be sidewalks put in on our 4 properties, 20, 22, 23, and 24, Abbey Road. The next day, they stopped construction that day. The next day, we received a letter from the town that the sidewalks would go in. We were contacted by the then town manager that she said they would be going in for public safety. We immediately signed a petition, all 4 properties, stating we don't want these. We were not notified of these sidewalks. We don't want to maintain them, and we do not want the liability of them. We've been in our home for 42 years, never had a sidewalk in front of our house, and we purchased it that way. We were told by the then town manager that because the town owns property on the corner of Taft and Abbey Road, and they maintain the sidewalks there, that they would continue on the 400 extra feet, and they would do the sidewalks for us. It wasn't until the new council members here and the town attorney informed us that that was not legal to give us that kind of promise. We were then more outraged because we felt we were lied to. So we began in earnest to say, we don't want them. Do something about this. We never were told that they were going in. There was not a public hearing for us that we had any knowledge that this was going in. And that is the crux of it all. We had no way to say anything about it. So we, at that point, started to talk to our neighbors about it, and they said, well, we found out on good authority that there were some members of the Abbeywood Estates who requested these sidewalks, and they wanted to get them to connect to the beginning of Abbeywood to Taft. So the sidewalks run along the south side of Abbey Road, and we are on the north side. The sidewalks now come across the property in front of us with a crosswalk to go down 3 properties and stop at Abbeywood. It doesn't go down Abbey Road to Broadbrook Road. There's no safety conditions there. The only safety we have is for the Abbeywood residents, who have a sign up there, do not trespass. But yet we have no problem going in front of our property. So they were approached because they requested it and wanted it, because of all the years that we've been there, we've never requested them. Why don't you, if you want them and you want to use them, then maintain them. Have the association maintain them. Do they do your roads? They do your sidewalks? They do your driveways? How about the extra 400 feet? They said no. So I thought we were fair at that, and I think we've asked the town to be fair about it. The majority, like I said, we live in this town. If we want to do something in our properties, we have to go and get permission from the town. We got to get a permit. If we don't do the right thing with the permit, we do it wrong, and they said, you did that wrong, pull it out, rip it out. It's at your expense, the homeowner. These sidewalks were put in without our knowledge. We did not want them. We were not notified legally of them. And because of that, if somebody doesn't want to maintain them, I know we don't in our retirement age, and that's not why we bought the house, then they have to come out. They should come out. It's only right. And I'm not the only one of the 4 properties. We should have been notified. We should have had consideration in this. And it shouldn't just be a certain few that had the consideration of these sidewalks. Thank you.
Thank you. George? You sure? All right. Zachary?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Now, I don't walk or exercise, so I have no personal investment in sidewalks, but I find it asinine that for 2 years we had residents come before this council, talk about speeding issues going along Abbey Road. Many of the Republican councilors were receptive to those issues. And now we're talking about spending taxpayer dollars to rip up sidewalks that we spent taxpayer dollars to put in. It seems ridiculous because, I mean, with all due respect, there's a resident that didn't get informed, but still within a legal right, we had the right to construct the sidewalks. There was a mistake regarding notification. There was a mistake regarding promises that were made that shouldn't have been. Mistakes happen. But should we spend significant taxpayer dollars to cater to one resident and jeopardize the safety and the future development of this town? It baffles my mind. I just don't think in any way that is good public policy to be spending taxpayer dollars to be removing sidewalks that we put in. I struggle to rationalize with that. There was mistakes, unfortunately, in town. Our government changes. We have 17 town managers in the past 10 years. There's a lot of changes, and that is something we have to live with, and people voted for changes. That's what happens. But the idea that we would use taxpayer dollars to rip up sidewalks, jeopardize safety, everybody watches the meetings, people talk about speeding on Abbey Road, the council was receptive to noting that, and to risk having someone injured in the future, to risk using taxpayer dollars, spending more money when we are in a fiscally challenging time to cater to one group of residents, a very small group, I think is irresponsible. And in regards to the school funding, I do have to mention this. 67 teachers are going. And there was a lot of commentary about a lot of the people that were hired were also instructional aides and behavior techs. They're not teachers, that's correct. So 120 teachers didn't go. But I can tell you, I've been a long-term sub for 7 weeks. I know every single day, every single period, that I don't have another body in a room with a student who needs that body. Because it makes my job next to impossible when I have 20 kids to worry about, and there is a student who needs someone else with them, and now they're my priority, and 19 other students aren't getting the education that they deserve. It's a disservice to every other student in the classroom. And I teach in summers. We don't have the needs that students do here in Enfield. Never mind the fact that the class sizes in Enfield are now proposed to be higher in a community that has more needs in which the students need more attention. I understand mistakes were probably made. The Board of Education, yes, they probably should have informed the council that they were using one-time funds to fund reoccurring expenses. But it's what they had to do. That's why those positions that were hired with those funds, those aren't the positions being cut, because special education and behavior techs are required by law to meet the services that we have to provide to those students. That has to be done. And now I think we have made 15 steps back that I don't think we're going to recover from. It's not just about what it's going to hurt now, it's about it's going to hurt in our future. This is divesting from kids, and I don't think it's responsible. I think there was other ways to get the taxes where they need to be. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Zach. George?
George Young, 8 Holly Lane. Due to other commitments in May, I was unable to attend the meetings, although I did watch the recorded programs. Thanks to all the council members and the mayor for keeping the mill rate intact for another year, which I had been advocating for a long time. I feel bad for anyone that had a position working for this town that may lose their job and for programs that get cut out. I hope we can move forward and take a good look at what needs to be done to get the town moving forward again. Now I first need to respond to my so-called misstatement at the April 29th council meeting. I stated the town manager's example of $200,000 as an assessed home would cost the taxpayer $4,512 at the proposed mill rate of $32.23. It was a bad example because I felt the average assessed value in the town was probably about $250,000 to $275,000. I used $260,000 as my example, which would cost the taxpayers about $5,865. As a side note, I was later informed after the meeting that the average assessment was $236,000, and I calculate that to be $5,324 for the homeowner. Since they knew the average assessed figure, it would have been a much better example. I further stated that the example reminded me of when the town manager gave us a sample of an interest rate and cost of the bond funding for the WPC plant renovation referendum with a 20-year amortization schedule and a 2% interest rate. That was a sample of 10 years attached to the report, and I said the rate was only good for 1 year, and then we paid through the nose. I further stated it was a bad example then, and a $200,000 assessed home is a bad example now. Even though there was not to be any back and forth, the town manager jumped in before I had barely returned to my seat to say he wanted privilege of the floor. I think that's what he said. He said he would never correct someone making an opinion at a public hearing. But Mr. Bromson stated that when I said that he made statements of supporting the referendum for the water pollution control facility, he said he was not the town manager then, and also he came in years later. I want to thank our mayor for reminding the town manager that there wasn't to be no back and forth. After the meeting, Mr. Bromson said to me that he didn't care how old I was because he could still sue me for my misstatement that he was the town manager then. I don't feel that any person in this town that has the courage to speak here should be confronted with a lawsuit, even if they make a misstatement, because we see you all as public figures. I usually try to check my facts before speaking here, but we all make some mistakes from time to time. Incidentally, my statement that he was the manager at the time was accurate. I have a copy of the Water Pollution Control Authority fiscal year 2020 that was presented on June 3rd, 2019 by Christopher W. Bromson, town manager, and the projected payments for bonding on the $4.6 million loan at 2% for 20 years. The interest rate on most of the bonds is approximately 3.24%, which I can show you if necessary. Hopefully this subject is concluded. Thanks, Jennifer, for reminding the council at the May 20th meeting that I have been asking for audited reports for the fiscal year ended June 30th for months now. Perhaps you could get an update this evening as to when they will be issued. I'll come back, I hope, later. I have a couple other subjects to address, okay? Yeah, but I can't do this in a minute, because I know I'll be cut off.
Good evening. Carl Usher, 23 Abbey Road. As these sidewalks were put in illegally, as far as I'm concerned, they just showed up on a Friday afternoon. I come home from work and my yard's torn to shreds and everything else. And the only people that are really benefiting from this are the people of Abbey Woods, which is a private area. You're not allowed to go in there. It's fine these people want to walk their kids across my front yard and everything else, but that's a 55 and older community. So everyone's not allowed in there. So they have to bring them elsewhere, as far as I see. So this whole ordeal has been unfair to begin with. It's not only me, it's my cousin across the street also. And all of us don't want these things. They shouldn't have been put there to begin with. If I make mistakes, I pay for them. These, as a young man said earlier, mistakes have been made. Well, sure, now everyone has to pay for them. Not only you, me, everyone. Anyone that lives in this town pays taxes. But, you know, these things should be taken out because they weren't put in correctly. Procedures weren't followed. I mean, if I do something wrong, I pay for it. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Anyone else for the first time? Charlotte?
Good evening. Charlotte Riley. I'm coming to you as Chair of the Board of Education this evening. I just wanted to give an update, hopefully put some rumors to rest. Today, thank you, we got the MOU. Appreciate that. We are going to have, you know, the whole board review it, so we'll have a meeting to discuss that. Yes, you all got emails. There is an additional shortfall. When I was here last time talking, I specifically didn't ask a number because I knew that more bills were going to come in. More bills that close out special education come in. Gas bills for the busing, extra runs, magnet school, all of those bills come in at the end of June. So that's where the additional monies came from. But I would like to request that soon we have a meeting, the council and the board, to discuss where we're all at so that we're on the same page, so we know how much assistance that we can expect, because we're at the end of the year, and if we have to make more cuts, we need to know now, because it's difficult to do that, mid-year. We did have a finance meeting this evening. It was actually pretty well attended by both sides of the board, and we started putting together how we would like the budget to look. We started talking about that. Both sides are working together pretty cohesively. I'm just trying to fix the problem that I walked into. So I would ask that we can work together to figure this out and move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. Anyone else for the first time? Second time? Ma'am?
Hi, Kathy Brunel, 2 Woodbridge Drive. I just wanted to say, in reference to a couple comments that were made about Abbey Wood Estates, one, it is not a 55 and microphone. Oh, sorry.
It is not a 55 and older community. It is open to anybody who wants to purchase one of the homes there. There are signs up about walking, non-resident dog walking. There's nothing anywhere that says non-residents cannot walk through there. In fact, we have many people who walk through our neighborhood. It is a quiet place to walk. It is enclosed in that it's like one in and one out. So there are non-residents who walk through there. Unfortunately, we did have issues with, dog poop on yards, which I'm sure other people do too, which is why the sign is up for non-resident dog walking. But in terms of anybody just walking, and that in terms of the sidewalk, that means anybody in the town of Enfield is going to benefit from sidewalks if they choose to come and walk in a particular neighborhood. I do not always just walk on Abbey Road or one on Abbey Road. I go into other neighborhoods and I benefit from their sidewalks there. So I believe if you are a resident of Enfield, then you benefit from sidewalks that may be anywhere in Enfield, because we should all feel comfortable walking anywhere in our town and not just in a specific neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. George?
George Young, 8 Holly Lane. Now that the budget session is mostly over, I would like to ask the council to address the issue of freezing the mill rate and the assessment for seniors who are 70 years and older at the current level. There could be other criteria, such as home ownership, etc., but income should not be part of that. This was further emphasized or re-emphasized by Liz Davis, a former council member on May 20th meeting, to freeze the taxes for seniors. We have paid our dues to this town, as Lynn Kostick stated at the May 6th meeting. When that is done, we seniors might not be so against an increased mill rate to support the town and schools and many programs that can be reinstated. I feel that there are many residents that are much younger who can better afford these increases because their current salaries are much higher than when we were actively working. And they are getting many tax credits from the federal and state governments for children that we have never received. Many seniors are working to maintain their standard of living right now. Now there's a $1.7 million that the BOE is asking to be reimbursed for completed capital projects, as discussed by Mr. Bronson at the special meeting of the council on May 8th, 2024, where the BOE applied for a grant from the state, but that was not awarded. I would be in favor of them receiving the money from the town if it came from the reserves and did not commit the town to make that an amount that is required to be given to them each year. There's so much more to talk about tonight, but I needed to clarify my prior comments first tonight, so thank you very much.
Thank you, George. Jen?
Jennifer Briette, 83 Park Ave. Pokemon Club, Art Club, Audubon Bird Watching Club, Jane's Team, Board Game Club, Harry Potter Club, Girls in Engineering, Film Club, Percussion Ensemble, Do-Gooders Club, 6th Grade Math Club, Twain Team Homework Club, Kosciuszko Team Homework Club, Volleyball Club, Calm Club, Cards for All, Peers Are Welcome Support, Invention Convention, Skidco Homework Club, Sports Club, JFK Robotics, Instrumental Lessons. You had the power to save jobs and classes and sports and music and art and so many things, and you didn't do it. Shame on you. Shame on all of you.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on to the town manager's report.
I have no formal report this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. How about,
Excuse me, but through the assistant manager, he has a report.
okay, what was that?
Counselor report first.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
Sorry. Councilman Communications. No, it's not that. I was shocked at. Just keep going?
I still
Okay.
have no report.
Per Councilman Santinello, we're going to pass Councilman Communications tonight.
Excuse me.
He said it. All right, council members. Councilman Mangini.
Thank you. So, several of us had the privilege of attending the Wreaths Across America fundraiser at Mount Carmel. It was very nice and very well organized, thanks to Pam and the Post. And the food was out of this world. It was really good. I also want to ask, through our mayor to our town manager, the status of the American Legion parking lot. That may not be something, Chris, that you're currently up to speed with.
So I will have.
Okay, good, thank you. I also would like to bring forward, the Rotary is asking for the logo signs at the entrance of our town, both entrances. Julie Codner is stating that they've disappeared and they want to order new ones, but she's not sure if it's the town or the state that we would have to get permission from in order to put up signs. I'm thinking it's the town, but I told her I would bring it forward and have town staff make that ruling, if you would. Thank you. And I was honored this weekend to be a recipient of a very fine, prestigious award at St. Joseph Cathedral for years of service to the teaching of children. And I want to thank people that have offered congratulations. It means a lot to me. And more importantly, it means more to me to be able to be there for the children. So, speaking of children, I had the privilege of attending the Eli Whitney ceremony this morning, and it was phenomenal. There were so many students, including my granddaughter, who received many, many awards. And it just goes to the heart of how important and fortunate we are to have all of the teachers, all of the staff. It does take a village. These children have currently lots and lots of support people to help them get through, especially the fifth graders going on to junior high, and to see the happiness and the smiles. But then on the flip side, you could see the anguish from the staff, because it's the end of the road right now, and the future is bleak, and no one has any idea where we're going to be going from here. But today was beautiful, and I do want to thank all the teachers, not only in Eli Whitney, but at all the schools, because Eli Whitney was just an example of what our teachers go through with their staff helping children, and it's remarkable. And finally, my 50th high school reunion, Enfield High School, home of the Raiders. Class of 1972 is going to be held on this Saturday. Yes, 50 years, Chris.
2 years late.
COVID.
Wait a minute, 2 years late, because I'm having 50
No,
this year, and I'm
COVID.
74.
No, COVID stepped in. So we're having our 50th, and it's going to be at Figaro. So any class member who is not aware of the celebration, please contact one of us, and we'll make sure you get there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Mangini. Councilman Santinella.
Yep, thank you very much. Through the mayor to the town manager, I keep getting questions about the senior volunteer tax credit. Is that preserved? There's no forms at the senior center. We talked about this once before. Where do people get where do people get the forms to fill them out?
I think we tracked it down and sent it out with Mary Keller and where it was available, and we've sent that information. But if obviously there's a continued problem of communication, I'll ask Steve and tomorrow again, because they said no, they're here, and we sent it all out to everybody. So why there's the senior center? One thing now, there's two though. Councilman, I should say, John Wilcox brought to my attention today, and one of our seniors had mentioned this within the last couple meetings, and I don't know if you're alluding to this one, where they do the volunteer work and then they get certain credits.
Yes.
So I just will alert you, it's very timely that you bring it up, and I appreciate the opportunity. John told me today that last year, I believe in March, the council passed a resolution allowing that there would be the senior tax credits for volunteers. The bullet point said it would cost $26,000. That was a bullet point. We've got to come back to council because we already have applications totaling over $85,000 under the program. So you're going to have to revisit it. So they haven't processed those or paid them because they came up with this. So that might be part of it, but I'll inform leadership. John just told me that this afternoon. Yep. So we'll have to look at it to see if you want to fund the difference or leave it at the 26 or how you want to handle it. Okay. So if that's the question, that's the answer.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, because I keep getting questions about whether it's continuing.
Because there were two programs, and the one, I think, and that's where the miscommunication, it's this program I think you're referring.
That is the program that I'm referring to, and that's the program that people are asking about.
Thank you for the opportunity to let people know at home. We are looking at it. They have the applications, but it almost was quadruple as to what I think the anticipated amount would be, so council will have to look at it, and we can bring it up at leadership and have it available for your decision for the next meeting in June.
Yeah, that would be great.
Thank you.
The other question for you, or maybe the town attorney, I'm not sure, because I had asked this question before and it has to do with something Mr. Young had asked. We had talked about the possibility of having a two-tiered tax system, and we weren't, I believe this is where the town attorney said, well, kind of, sort of, maybe, but I'll have to get back to you. I think that was your answer. So I just wasn't sure, did we ever look into that, and is it even a feasible thing for us to ever consider?
Okay, since the last meeting, I have not had an opportunity to look into it. Okay. And actually, if you want to make it a specific request, I'd be happy to take a look at it.
Sure. Okay, thank you. And then just a final note, tomorrow night is the start of our concert series in the band shell. It's going to be a beautiful night, and the Culture and Arts Commission has done an amazing job putting together a great concert series this year. So it's a great chance to come down. And I believe we have food trucks, correct? And that's part of your report? Okay, very good. That's all I have. Thank you.
Hogtied Barbecue is going to be there. Oh, boy. If you like barbecue.
And Ken's buying for everybody, right?
With John's credit card. Bob?
Thank you, Mayor. Before I get going with a few of my comments, I just want to check, this is through the mayor to the town manager. Could we set up an appointment with Mr. Salas to discuss that area, that part of the property that we had talked about putting a fence in between there for walkers that are coming through the property that disrupt the businesses? If we could do that, that would be awesome. Okay, thank you. All right, now, yeah.
Mr. Crissati.
Just that with regard to anything down there, I believe we're under a purchase agreement with somebody else in that area, so we want to be careful not to do anything that changes the status of any of the properties, and it may involve a fence. So just have your meeting, do whatever you want to do there.
Yeah.
But you can't make any commitments until we take a look at the contract.
No, I totally
Okay,
agree,
thank
but
you.
I think that the section I was talking about is our town-owned property, not theirs. Okay?
Actually, I think it does impact, I believe they're called IRD, Union Square, that entire contract. I think we have to be careful not to do anything that might have any impact on it, even if we think it's beneficial. It could be violation of the contract, so we're being very careful
I'll invite
with
the
that.
town attorney to the meeting, Mr.
Perfect.
Presiding, or his designee.
Perfect, thank you. I just wanted to follow through with that. Okay, yep, thank you. All right, Thursday, June 6th, just want to put it out there, it's the Enfield Adult Ed graduation. It's at 6 o'clock, and that's at the Annex. So I think we were all invited. If you have the opportunity to go, that would be great. I attended this past week the Capital Workforce Partner Consortium of Chief Elected Officials, and the basis of this meeting was just a summary of the vision for our North Central region. We are one of 6 towns that are involved with the Capital Workforce area, and once again, this this is a workforce development system that enhances both the job seekers and employer customers in advances of leveraging public and private resources to produce skilled workers for a competitive regional economy. I know that we had talked about, and I think the plans are still there for some time in the fall with Capital Workforce Partner, that we will be having a job fair in conjunction with Asnuntuck Community College. And we should be very fortunate that over at Asnuntuck, we have that satellite workforce partnership right here in town. So once again, this is something to promote businesses and employment. And I just wanted to let everybody know that, that we were represented at the meeting, which was good. Yep. Also, this past Thursday marked the start of the Connecticut Special Olympics. The Allied Enfield Stars athletes took part in the torch run here in town, which started from Enfield and went up to East Windsor. So athletes were involved, the Enfield Police Department, correctional officers, Shaker Pines Fire Department was involved. They had a trailer for anybody that needed to take a break along the route. And but it was pretty impressive. And eventually that torch went all the way to New Haven, to Southern Connecticut, for opening ceremonies, which was this past Friday night. I just want to congratulate all of the athletes that took part in the, from Enfield, the Enfield Allied Stars, for their outstanding performances in track and field, swimming, and soccer. It was a great weekend. It was a heck of a long weekend for all the volunteers and coaches that are involved with this event, which made it a real huge success. So, and for everybody that in town that supports this, especially our police department and our fire departments, they do a great job in promoting these programs. So that's all I have to say right now. I'll wait for later to make my other comments in regard to Abby.
Thank you, Bob.
Yep.
Jim?
I also attended the Wreaths Across America supper, and I just want to say hats off to that committee for putting that together, along also with all the volunteers that helped there. I saw the Legion posts and all the volunteers that helped, that cooked for the food and everything else. Great time. And also, I just want to remind everybody that the Enfield Farmers Market is up and running Sundays, 9:30 to 12, so stop on by. That's it.
Doug?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So, it's the first time I've had to say that. First thing is, I want to let everybody know here in TV land is that your town employees, the Ask Me Local 1029 have a Facebook page. And they're dedicating that Facebook page to the residents of this town to help them understand what they do and everything else. And they've also got requests to help people out. It was a flagpole. I don't know the woman's name. She's elderly. And she's got on that Facebook page and said, can somebody help me with my flagpole? And the notice went out, and there was quite a few replies from our guys and ladies to help this person out. So I'm sorry, I don't know the link, but it's on Facebook. I'm sure you can just Google it on Facebook, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. But it's something new for this union, and I think it's going to be a good tool for the residents of this town that they should be, going on there and taking a look at it. They'll know a lot about it. The other thing I got is I want to thank the 3 ladies from Hazardville Memorial who asked me to sit down with them one time this last week, and I did. And we had a good conversation, 45 minutes. They were very polite. They saved me because when my wife called me and asked me where I wasn't home yet. I put it on speaker on my phone, and each one of them said, Doug's here, we cornered him, we're talking to him about how he voted. And so I just wanted to thank those 3 ladies for their politeness. And, it's sad, but we still have to deal with this year, and that's all I really want to say about it right now. We're still dealing with this year's shortcomings. And as far as the Abbeywood sidewalks, I will wait when that comes up and vote to give you my side of that. Thank you.
Lori? Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I just wanted to announce Enfield High is having their graduation next week on the 14th, and that starts at 7 p.m. So congratulations to all those graduates. And I also want to reiterate a plug for the adult ed that's this Thursday at 6 o'clock. That's one of my favorite events to attend, serving on this council, because a lot of these students, some are young, some are older, and somehow life threw them a curve. And now they want to go back and get their high school accreditations, and some have lots of support and some have no support. And every single one of these graduates have a story, and it's so heartwarming, and I'm just so proud of all of them. So I just want to give them a shout out.
Thank you, Councilman Ungar. Councilman Hendrickson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of quick ones I want to get out of the way first. Tom, are you going to comment on the Siting Council?
Yes, I am.
Town Attorney, thank you. To the senior tax credit, the dollars obviously went way over what we were expecting. On the good side, which I like to look at always, that means there's a lot of volunteers out there in town, so I'm very grateful for that, so that's a good thing. The other thing I wanted to comment on was the budget that we just went through. I am, my first one, I'm very grateful for the team that was up here and the hard work that was put in. I'm amazed at the numbers, how everybody in this town can see numbers differently, and numbers are a finite number. I do wish it was a little more transparent to people, because numbers seem to come in. I know we held budget meetings out there for everyone to watch and everything else, but it just seems the confusion that people have on what is actually going on is still there. The forensic audits request, I think, is a good thing. I think whenever you make tough cuts and people are upset and other people are happy they're not getting taxed higher, you need to look at what we can do better and how we can fix some of this stuff. Adversity makes you stronger. I'm always going to look at the positive side of this. We're going to be better after all of this. It may be a tough year, but it's going to make us stronger as a town. I want to thank Charlotte for coming up and the hard work she's done. Again, she was at another meeting tonight on finance, and it sounded like they were communicating anyway. And one of the things we obviously saw was the lack of communication between the two, Board of Ed and the town council here, because we're still bailing out or trying to bail out and get it right. I do agree that as a town, we have to fix it. So whether it's our style or a mix of everyone's style, this is a management team up here, and it's on us to fix it. So that's what we're going to have to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Hendrickson. Councilman Ludwig.
I'll be quick, because I know you're going to comment on the solar fields, and then I'll save my comments on Abbey Road when we get there. Again, is it through the merit of the town? Can we get a copy of the MOU that was sent to the board, or is that not ready yet?
We certainly, Steve was handling that with the town attorney, and I know he sent it to the board, and certainly it should be shared with the council as well, and I'll ask him to do it this evening.
Again, just to level set, they're currently short in current fiscal year budget, close to $6 million. They were, again, use round numbers. They were budgeted for a certain number, then they spent $6 million more. That's the reality of it. The town council's offered the help, and for people to not to recognize what the current issue is, and we're trying to address it. It's not just, hey, you underfunded or we can't underfund the Board of Education. They got 2% increase. I understand folks wanted more, but that's not what the council does. And the individual's right. We don't tell the board how to spend their money. 100% correct. And so Councilman Hendrickson's, we need to manage this and we need to fix this, because this is not going away. It's going to, the shortfall, unfortunately, is going to be going into next year. We're going to have to deal with it, and we have to make tough financial decisions. And my recommendation is we need to meet more often on the budget. We need to start talking to the Board of Ed in the summer, whether we have monthly meetings, whatever it may be, making sure our finance department's on the same page with their finance department. So there's not this he said, she said that we went through in the last 3 weeks of what number was right, this number was here. And so we get everything documented, everything's been public, and at least everyone's on the same page with wherever we're at financially, and we can manage it. But, 1.7 here, 1.4 here, all these other numbers, that's why I understand why the public's confused. And I think it is interesting, when you look back on some of the, again, the deficit started, and it didn't just happen, and it's carried over, and we're trying to manage it. And again, it takes folks with some courage to make tough decisions, some creativity. And I recall we got cut almost $8 million back in 2017, and within 10 months, we kept the board whole at that point. But within 10 months, we were not only back, but actually we didn't have a big tax increase. We were able to increase our tax collections, and we were already back refunding our fund balance. People need to be clear where we're at in our fund balance. I think we're roughly going to be around 18 million, roughly. I know there's probably a little after this. If we cover 3.9 that we talked about last meeting, that's not a lot of money to have. I know it sounds like a lot of money, but it's one issue in town where we have an issue where we have to have an emergency, and we have to make emergency repairs to something. And then we start getting into territory, anything under 15 million, we start worrying about our bond rating. And then when you start worrying about your bond, a lot of folks talk about debt and understanding debt. We lose a bond rating, guess what? Our debt goes up, and we're spending more on debt with projects that were already approved. We've heard, we have the high school, the middle school, roads, the water pollution control plant, which was brought up. So, we have a lot of ongoing capital improvements. And I think we need sound fiscal conversations between folks who are willing to get in a room and hammer this out, because this is not going to go away, and we need to get on top of it. And quite frankly, I know Enfield's not the only municipality having financial, others are as well, because, again, sorry, if you've gone to the grocery store, everyone who, no matter what what you purchase and what you're, as a consumer, what you want, you're seeing it in your own budgets. Inflation's a hidden tax, and unfortunately, inflation is not the 8% the federal government wants you to believe it is. As everyone knows, it's well over 20%. And that comes out of your budget directly, no matter what you purchase. That's on you as a consumer. So I'm willing to roll up my sleeves like we did back in 2017, and we managed it. Again, adult conversations, tough cuts, tough things we had to do, and I think that's what we have to do moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Crissati, you kind of took everything I had to say. I will not be able to attend adult education, and I know that is very near and dear to you and your wife's heart. So if you could fill in for me, I would greatly appreciate it. I think also it would mean a lot more to the students coming from you. So next, I want to thank the town for the speedy work of getting the new posted digital signs up at Enfield High School and at Enfield Street School. I saw them tonight. They were put up today. I'm not sure the solar batteries are fully charged yet, but they will be working. Not that I need them, of course, because I stay below the speed limit. I do agree with Councilman Ludwig on one side that, yes, this is far from over, and it's going to get worse before it gets better, and we see that. I am not willing to jeopardize the fund balance or our bond rating, because that'll tie the hands of the next 5 to 6 councils with the higher interest rates. And if we choose to reduce it any lower than what it is, we're one pump station away from a catastrophe in this town where we will be forced to go below the minimum that we need to maintain the fund balance. So we do have a tough decision to make. And unfortunately, as the chairman had stated, this is something that none of us created. None of us on this council. I mean, including the Democrats. They funded the Board of Education 100% what they asked for. We have, I don't want to use the word debunked, but debunked every one of the myths about the 1.4, the 1.7, money owed for this and that. We've proven it all not to be the case. The current chairman is working with us. We actually had a joint meeting last night on our side, and we're discussing different solutions, but none of us are happy with this. None of us. We all had plans. All of us had plans to move the town forward and do things for the town side of things. And I know mine personally, as strange as it sounds, was pump stations. I want to make sure everybody's toilet continues to flush. And unfortunately, that's going to get pushed off. So that's all I'm going to say about that for tonight. But again, I know the board made some tough decisions. So did we, because we really, we hammered the town this year for cuts just to get the fund balance up to where it is right now. So we had a little bit of a cushion if something were to go wrong. I want to thank all the town employees for doing more. And there's less employees on the town side now. They've all stepped up. I haven't seen one of them come here and complain. They're doing it. Doug, I know you're taking some heat for it, for where you sit. And just thank them all. That's all I can tell you. I truly appreciate everything that everybody's doing, and the school is going to have to do the same thing. I would like to thank them also. I'm not sure that that helps at all, but we have no choice. And I think Councilman Hendrickson summed it up best. The senior tax credit for volunteering. Wow. If that doesn't say that people are really willing to step up to try to lower their taxes, I don't know what does, you know, and, you know, that's a double-edged sword. It's a success. It's a huge success, but it's an expensive success. And nobody would love to freeze the taxes more than me for the seniors. But right now, it's not happening. This year, the taxes were froze. Nobody got a tax increase. It's disheartening that we received the news about the 1.7 after we passed the budget instead of before. They kind of tied the hands of this council. So we got tough decisions to make, but that's all I'm going to say for now on that. So moving on to the town manager's report.
Well, now I do have a short report. In addition to the other queries, I will just echo the mayor's comments and thank Chief of Police Fox and Donna Loons of DPW for expediting and getting the traffic calming and signage up. I sent pictures of that to the entire council. I thank them for working so quickly on it. In regard to the query of Councilman Mangini in regard to the American Legion, and I thank them for their patience. I believe it's Commander Jim Maloney I've spoken to, and he was going to come in the end of last week, and I was ill, but we'll see him again. I had to track down, being town manager sometimes is like being an archaeologist. You've got to look through, ask the town attorney, Public Works, try to follow the paper trail, find out what happened in the past. So what I can tell you is they had come forward wanted to expand their parking area. Part of it is owned, and they have a lease with the town, to my understanding. So when we were giving out certain stipends, they were eligible and received $25,000 towards that project, which was completely appropriate. Additionally, they had conversations with my predecessor talking about job owning. You know, maybe since it's a town property, maybe you could donate the millings if we have extra. Maybe they could remove the topsoil, you know, have Public Works do it. So the town attorney looked, and those were just really conversations. There was no representation made. Now, I told Mr. Malone, we've got to be careful because we have a item on the agenda tonight, Abbey Road, where for good intentions or for whatever reason, something occurred because the rules weren't followed completely. And I'm not going to get into emoluments and all of that, but what the town attorney, the assistant town attorney, Mark Serrato, and we will have the meeting, if we're able to give them millings if we have them and there's no entanglement, we certainly would want to help. In regard to actually having Public Works do the work, we might have a situation similar to Abbey Road, that we want to help all of these people. I want to solve problems, and it would be very easy if I were able to do some of these accommodations. But the charter is very specific in our ordinance and regulations as to what I can do, what has to come to you. So we'll listen to them and see what they have to say. Town attorney's willing to review any requests they have. It would involve an amendment to their lease, so we can try to assist them with that. If we have millings, perhaps we're able to give them as long as we make them available to others. I think what the public has to understand is there's reasons for charities and nonprofits, and they do great work, and they fill a gap that government can't perform many times, and they get tax benefits for that. But on the other hand of it, when one group, they're all worthy. Every time I get a request from Lions or the Rotary or the Elks or the Moose Lodge or Mount Carmel or the Veterans or a church to use, they're all worthy. We want to do it. But you have to understand, I don't have authority to do it a lot of times independently, and sometimes the council doesn't. Because once you say and you set the precedent, I've been asked over the years, 32 years, probably 100 times, does this set a precedent? Yes. You know, we're going to have an item on the agenda. We set a precedent. Look at the trouble we're in over this. And you know what? I've thought about it all ways, 6 ways to Sunday. And I think people were trying to fix a problem. People were trying to address all the issues. I think it was all good intentions. But they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. No pun intended with the sidewalks. But you can see what can happen. And I don't think there's a villain. I think that I'm glad I don't have to make the decision. And I mean that sincerely tonight, because I don't think there are bad people here. I've listened to them. People want to use the sidewalk, people who live there for 40 years and don't want to be responsible for the maintenance, and they're in their elder years. They don't want to have to maintain it. And I think the manager tried to accommodate it. I mean, and I would love to do that. I wish I didn't know all I know, having been town attorney. But having said all of that, we'll meet with them, but that's the status of it. We'll help to the degree we can, and if there's something we can come to the council with, we'll make sure it's something that the town attorney has approved. And we would like to help all these groups because they help us and they help the community, and they fill gaps in a lot of areas that we just don't have the funding or the staff or the manpower to do it. But we just have to make sure we follow the rules so we don't find ourselves in a jam, however well intended. And I think I will now not forget Mr. Belinda, because he actually has some good, happy, joyful news. And I'll piggyback off Mr. Jim Nasuda. One of my passions and loves, and Mike Ludwig and the council previously during COVID, we were locked down. We had nowhere to go. And one of the expressions we were able to use and the state exempted was the farmers market. And you know how much passion we put into it. We were there every weekend. So I'm glad now, even though there's a lot of other attractions for people to go to, it started Sunday. The report back from Chris Tetrault is not all the vendors are up and running yet, but there was good foot traffic. I'm not going to steal Steve's thunder, only a little slice.
Go ahead.
The Enfield Market is wonderful. It's up and running. Please come. But one expansion of the concert series that we made was we added 3 jazz concerts, and that was through collaboration with the Cultural Arts and the committee. A great idea. So 3 Sundays we're going to have jazz after the Enfield Market. So come, shop, bring your children, and then enjoy the concert. And that'll be starting on the 23rd, and then we'll advertise the one for July and August. But we're trying to offer good things for our community to bring people together. And I know you are faced with a real difficult decision, and I hope that we will be stronger and come together after. We have weathered a lot of storms. It's not easy. You're in the crosshairs no matter what you do, but this is good news. This is something that we're bringing to all the families and children, those who are upset about perhaps perceived and hopefully not cut programs. At least we have the concert series to offer. We have the info market. We're trying to do paths, we're doing parks, we're doing basketball to give our citizens a good quality of life. So in addition to a great education and a safe community, there's a lot of amenities that their children could come out, and instead of saying, oh, the kids are breaking windows, or where are they, what are they doing? Well, they're on the basketball court, they're at the playground, they're at the concert. So I'll turn it over to Steve.
Thank you, Town Manager. So just to elaborate further on tomorrow's concert, the starts at 7 o'clock. We got a food truck. I heard it's great barbecue, and we also got an ice cream truck coming. Starts at 7. The name of the band is Change Up, so if you don't like hard rock, wait a few songs, and they change it up to soft rock. You don't like a few songs, they change it up to southern rock or soft rock. So it's a good band. It was voted best band in Hartford County last year. I've seen them personally, Jay Palazzo. I've seen them at Rockin' Horse. Great band. Everyone is going to enjoy that music. The town manager and I worked feverishly to get some sponsorship this year, and we did. So the majority of these concerts this year are going to be paid for by sponsors or some leftover ARPA money. And I'm really happy to say that. We even have more sponsors that we could have pursued, but we still have to finish this ARPA money. But next year, we're going to have, our goal is to have 100% of these concerts paid for by sponsors. And I'm very proud of that fact, because we'll put a sign sponsored by this organization or that. And I'm going to come out and say it. USA Waste and Recycling, they are a major sponsor, and Artioli Dodge. They know what this community means to them, and seeing something like the concert series is important. So I'm very proud to call them our sponsors. More good news. I was out there talking to the foreman today. Even though the ETA in this construction was August, 95% of this job is going to be done by next week. Paved. They just poured sidewalk today. It's hardening as we speak. Next week, paving the parking lot. Talk about speedy work. It's Four Seasons. Kudos to them for getting the job done. They quality work. Anything we had any concerns, they addressed immediately. Very accommodating. I can't say enough good things about Four Seasons. Let's see. John Wilcox is also setting up an account, so it's kind of like a GoFundMe. So that way, when people are going to the concert and they want to participate and give money, they can donate small amounts, whatever. So it's a community event. It should be community financed. I can't tell you the amount of pride I have. I don't even live in town, but just working with this concert series, talking to the bands, hearing how they feel about it. This band shell is the envy of many towns. I don't know if you guys realize that. I've been to every concert last year, and they're saying, wow, everyone's talking about Enfield. You guys have a diamond right here, what you guys created. And walking away, all the people picking up all their garbage, smiles on their faces. I don't know what else I've been part of that experience. The glee I see, and everyone singing, happy, walking away from an event. All the months of hard work, meeting with the ECAC, working with sponsors, with the sound guy, with Chris, with our buildings and grounds group, facilities manager. All these people working on that collaborative effort to bring so much joy to the residents, to come and enjoy a few hours of music, their toes in the grass, sipping a soft drink and listening to good music. I can't emphasize enough. This is what a community is all about, and you guys hit it right on the nail when you guys agreed to do this campus. So kudos to all of you.
And I'd like to thank Steve sincerely. From the moment I came on board, he wanted to have meetings about this with the cultural arts, and he's done an incredible job. I would like to just share our poster, and there's a specific website, EnfieldSummerConcertSeries.com. Please go on it. It will give updates as to weather, food trucks, and also, amazingly, you can go on and there's snippets of the band, so you can actually hear them in concert. We have their permission. You can see and get a preview. But I thank Steve. I thank Jason Neely for putting this together. I thank the cultural arts. I thank Jason, who's our sound person. It was a collaborative effort. And again, the vision of the council. And sometimes you all understand, it's years in the making. What will it be like? Who will come? Here it is. The proof is in the pudding, and I think you can tell Steve's enthusiasm. I think everybody will share it, and I look forward to a great concert series this summer. Please try to come.
I'm going to promote next week's concert, too. It's a teacher in the town of Enfield who's going to be singing Frank Sinatra, The Sounds of Frank. So I encourage you all to come out there, too. I see Bob smiling there, so he must know who I'm talking about. Thank you.
I just have one question, Steve. So the public knows, are you allowed to bring alcohol?
That is a good question. We don't ask, they don't tell. So if people are coming, we're not inspecting people's coolers, and everyone walks away and they're fine, and no one's asking any questions. So I don't. That's the unofficial answer or official answer. We're not questioning people about bringing alcohol, and we have plenty. Police are here and whatever, but we're not inspecting people's.
Well, I'm glad you didn't ask me. But I think word to the wise is I would discourage it. Come and have a good time. Bring soft drinks. That we do have ordinances about parks and what can happen. I know last year was the first year and people went softly, but please respect others in what you do, what you bring, what you eat, what you say. Let's just make it as successful as last year. I'd hate to get them to the point where, the police chief comes in and says nope, and we don't want that. So please, folks, have your drinks later when you go home.
Right. We ask everyone to govern themselves accordingly.
Right. Okay, thank you. Mike, did you have a question? No.
Jim.
Jim?
Through the mayor to the town manager, I have to know, do we have power to the band show?
Yes, we do. We are going to light this candle.
Thank you.
And Jim has been a technical advisor on that with DPW. We thank him for his input, and I would like to thank. We saw them out there working to get it done on time. I believe it's the Joe LaPierre Electric Company, and his folks were out there. They were professionals. They did a great job. I'd just like to thank them too.
Yep.
They did a great job.
Can we also just make sure that the power for the food truck is on for the concerts every Tuesday night?
I'll make sure.
Okay.
And remember, it's the first one, maybe some little bumps. The grass isn't grown in everywhere. We'll have picnic tables. We'll make sure we order the porta potties, right, Steve? But please, give us a little break. We'll work out the kinks, and we'll get it right by the next concert or two.
We do have 4 porta potties. Last year, we didn't even have the band shell up yet. We had to rent a temporary trailer, but the show must go on, and we did it. So this year, every year we get better and better at this.
And do we have one ADA?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else? Well, that's some great news. I'm glad to hear it. And hopefully we see everybody out there tomorrow night, even for a song or two and an ice cream. Moving on to the town attorney's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Siting Council has postponed tomorrow's hearing on Lodestar's application for Town Farm Road. And so it's going to be, instead of June 4th, they postponed it to August 6th. This is at the request of Lodestar's attorney, and we did not object. The town did not object. They also have moved the entire schedule around so that the decision deadline now for the Siting Council on this application is November 8th. So tomorrow, I would assume the Skidco room is not going to have anybody there available. And we got notified of it this morning, so we were passing on as quickly as we could. We don't see this as a bad thing or a good thing. It's just a thing. So that's it. And Cindy just left. Does anybody remember, did she say she graduated in 72?
Yes.
72. And she's having her 50th reunion in 2024. Oh, because of COVID. That's why. I was just wondering if she found the secret for the Fountain of Youth or something. I mean, it's just knocked 2 years off her life. That's pretty good. Okay, so that's all I have for my report. Thanks.
Thank you. Moving on to reports of special committees. Are there any this evening? Seeing none. So then we're going to move on to unfinished business, Abbey Road sidewalks. The recommendation is the town council consider the following resolution. Be it resolved that the Enfield Town Council does hereby adopt a resolution to remove the sidewalks installed at number 20, 22, 23, and 24 Abbey Road. Date prepared 5/30/2024, prepared by the request of the town council. Yeah.
So moved. Second.
Motion's made and seconded. So, yes, we've heard a lot of stories on both sides of it. I agree with the neighbors 100%, 150%. The way these sidewalks were put in was wrong. It's very disheartening when you drive down there and you go into Abbeywood and they don't have sidewalks. So, it's great to ask somebody else to maintain sidewalks, but you don't have them on your own property. I do believe there should be some resolution to make it right to the residents over there, because I believe their process of appeal was taken from them with a false promise. And I think the town really needs to step up and try to work something out to make this right. Even though it wasn't this particular council that did it, or any council for that matter, it was a town manager decision that she didn't have the right to make. But on the flip side, I think there's more liability to the town of Enfield by removing sidewalks that were a safety concern instead of leaving them there and trying to work with the residents. So I am going to ask the town attorney, am I wrong? If we remove these sidewalks because of this, are we opening the town up to some sort of liability because of safety?
You could be, and if I might, I've thought a lot about this situation also for the same reasons you have. And remember, the emoluments legal opinion came before I was even nominated to be interim town attorney, so I've also inherited something with it. And so just from the notes I made, I'd like to make just a legal statement for people. The sidewalks in Abbeywood, if there are any or aren't any, that's private property. So that's like your home, and you own your home, you own your curtilage, the front yard and all that, so that's private property. The sidewalks on Abbey Road are actually in a public right-of-way. So there is a distinction and a difference. The people on Abbey Road, whether they want the sidewalks or not, they still have the right to keep people off of their own property, even though the sidewalks are on the public right-of-way, which the public has a right to go on. Just to clarify that, because that seemed to be a part of contention from both sides. Also, Abbey Road was put in 150, 200 years ago. And since then, you've had a lot of subdivisions that have been built and so on. And in Enfield, they define roads or streets as three different types. One's an arterial, collector, or minor. And the difference is that in our subdivision regulations and zoning, a road is basically 50, what the town owns is a 50-foot right-of-way, a strip of land. And if you're in what's called the arterial or a really busy road in a residential district, you're supposed to have 30-foot paved. A collector road is supposed to have 28-foot paved, and a minor road is 24-foot paved. Well, Abbey Road, according to our definition, since it's longer than 2,000 feet, qualifies as a collector road, so it should be, and it is, 50-foot width, but the paved portion is supposed to be 28 feet. It's only 22 feet, so it's already a substandard road before any sidewalks got put in. So that being the case, I think once you put in sidewalks, you've taken a situation and moved it from more dangerous to less dangerous, or let's say more safe. So now to take out the sidewalks from a situation you've made more safe, you're actually making it now less safe back to where it was beforehand. I don't want to say dangerous, but people now are going to be in the road perhaps like they were before any sidewalks were there. So potentially that could increase the liability for the town. And I've seen a lot of suits as a private attorney that towns get sued when somebody gets hit in the road and the town gets sued for defective design of a highway or something of that nature. Well, you're not going to get a liability for defectively designing Abbey Road because it's been here for so many years and so on. But I'm sure somebody, someplace, is going to come up with some kind of a theory that is going to at least get their foot in the door on litigation by removing the sidewalks, you've actually made it less safe. By putting the sidewalks in that are not removed and bringing them to an area where it is removed, you may have created an attractive nuisance for people to walk on it. So it's food for thought. It doesn't mean those people are going to win with those allegations, but it is a cause for concern that, it's something else you put in the equation, and in your infinite wisdom, you make the decision. We're the town manager today to have said, rip out those sidewalks. He would have been doing the same thing that Ellen Zapasusa did when she violated private emoluments in putting in the sidewalks, not putting them in, but having them shoveled by the town. That was the problem. And Chris knows he doesn't have the authority or power to do it, even if he wanted to do it. And I don't know if he does or he doesn't. But with the council, you're discussing it, you're taking into account all these different factors, and so your decision, in my opinion, doesn't violate the emoluments clause, no matter which way you go. So, but it is a concern over the sidewalk issue in terms of making it less safe. I don't think anybody can argue it's more safe if you take the sidewalks out. So I hope that's confused you enough.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Councilman Santinella.
Yeah, thank you. Can I just through the mayor to the town? I just want to make sure that I'm absolutely clear what you just said. So let's take the sidewalks themselves. There's the fact that the sidewalks are there is not, if I understand what you just said is correctly, is not the problem. The sidewalks are on a public right-of-way where forget all these issues, if we decided today that we thought sidewalks should go there, they were installed properly, they're not encroaching on anybody's property, there's no utility issues, we could have put sidewalks there.
Not only could have, you had the absolute right to do it without using eminent domain. You're not condemning somebody else's property. It's town property where the sidewalks were installed.
Okay, thank you. So the problem, the only problem here is relating to who's going to maintain them. The shoveling piece, the offer for the town to maintain them. That's the issue.
Well, I don't know. I think you got a few issues, but
no. I'm I don't want. Please don't make this sound to the neighbors. I don't want to dismiss your concerns. I know those are serious issues. I'm just with respect to the actual. If we were to put them on some other street, right, and in the same circumstances, and we promised to maintain them, that would be the crux of the issue. Right, even if neighbors wanted them there.
It seems to be the issue right now.
Yep.
Remember this too, that whatever you do here tonight on that, you may have somebody else that's going to come before you now that says, hey, I don't want sidewalks where I am either, and I don't want to shovel them anymore. So
I have 60
you have
feet
to
of shots. Yeah,
think over what you're doing and see if that's going to be applicable to other situations.
Okay.
And I don't blame the people for saying, I don't want to shovel the sidewalks. I don't want to shovel sidewalks.
Right.
Fortunately, I don't have any. So that's a good thing, but.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. That clarifies for me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All set, John? Yes. Councilman Crissati.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. This is a difficult situation. I know that we got a little heated last time that we were discussing it. I'm not even going to get close to that level. I'm going to look at civility tonight. Thank you for coming up, all three of you, or four of you that came. I went back and did my own research and going to come up with some factual information. Your time frame that you had stated, Mr. Tarnich, was correct. But I just want to give you a little background, a little history as to where this got to. And this project started last summer. After discussion and really advocacy from members of our council, the preceding council, the concern for traffic safety and speeding, sidewalk project on Abbey Road began, and we all know it began last summer. Residents from Abbeywood did come and approach the town and asked if the sidewalks could be extended so that it would be a safer passage in and out of the complex. That's a proven fact, okay? Since sidewalks and safety are a priority for us, and it's a common goal within our POCD that was passed, the town manager's office, DPW, and leadership, we looked at this issue. And the POCD in Chapter 8 is titled Infrastructure, specifically talks about public safety, sidewalks, and pedestrian infrastructure. The concern for the safety of pedestrians and cyclists, it's right within that POCD. The goal is connectivity in residential areas. The policy to connect sidewalks, and a no waiver policy. That road that Mr. Tyler was mentioning, to have the public right away, the 50 feet, that road, and he's correct, is 22 feet. That is a dangerous road area. It's very narrow. It's a safety and an operational issue that we had to look at. They looked at it, and the findings came back that it was too difficult to install on the eastern portion due to Jarmax property easements that would have required, as well as moving electrical boxes and utility relocations. DPW evaluated the west side and found that the sidewalks installed starting at Taft on the west side, affecting the one property owner, and then the crosswalk going to the eastern side, installing them in front of the 3 other properties. Monies were still available from the original project. This was not part of the neighborhood project, and I know that Councilor Ludwig stated it a couple of weeks ago, and I'll reaffirm, it was not part of the project. Letters were being prepared to go out to each of the 4 property owners. And there were supposed to be in-person visits, and Steve knows about this. Unfortunately, before this actually happened, a verbal discussion was given to say that this was a priority that we had discussed in DPW. All right, we didn't think that it was going to go that quick. We said maybe later on in the project, but a decision was made. Once that decision was made and construction started, we stopped it immediately. I was not happy about it, that construction even started. So Mr. Nunes, Mr. Belinda, Ellen Zapusasu spoke with the homeowners closest to the condo on the west side. They had young children, and they were fine with the sidewalks. They asked if a large bush was going to be part of the removal. That bush was removed. And they were happy, and he understood the responsibility of clearing the sidewalks, and mentioned to them that the neighbor who lives next door, manager at Skidco, all right, and he would do her sidewalks for her. Emails were received from the both of you, or from the Tarnowitzes, not in favor of this. And once I did hear, I had that stopped. And I understand your concern about the snow removals, but at the time, the town was already coming to that area, and this is what the town manager, because there's a town-owned property that the town clears during snowstorms. And she had mentioned to you that if there was an extreme event, that the town could sweep through and clear them on an extreme event. That's a fact.
She didn't mention it.
Huh?
She did not use those words. And the Jensens have been on board since.
Guys, I'm sorry, but we cannot have a back and forth. So, yeah, you'll have a chance to come back up at the end. It's pretty clear, but, okay, sorry. Thank you.
Okay, this is the notes that I have, okay? So, that offer was given, all right? So, but once again, there was a hiccup with the communication. There's no question about it. There was a miscommunication that was given. The installation of the sidewalks are within the town's right-of-way that does not require residential permission. The town attorney stated that today. There is the concern of speeding and traffic safety, a safety and an operational issue, and that was a decision that was made. If the sidewalks are removed, and the town manager mentioned this also, the town attorney, the town will be liable for any issue that happens or any accident that occurs. The extending of the sidewalks, I believe, was the right thing to do. And, I oppose to spending any type of money for the removal. I think that we can hopefully work out some sort of resolution in regard to this. And for, we don't even have an exact amount of what it's going to cost to remove them or for any restoration of the area that is going to be given to the area. I'm not overly, happy about the situation. I understand your frustrations and everything, but the safety and operational issue in that road being 22 feet narrow, the need for sidewalks for safety is number one imperative. So that's all that I have to say, Mayor. Okay,
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks. Yep.
Thank you. Councilman Finger.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, it was a violation of the, God, just hit it in my head now, my brain's froze. The referendum that was put into that road. Mrs. Tarnowitz, you hit everything right on the button. The point is not that the sidewalks, it's the point of how the process went through. Okay, you violated it, not you in particular, I'm saying this happened to be a violated the charter, okay? Nothing came back to the council for it to be approved, even though you had some extra money, that's supposed to come back to the town for us to decide as a council about that. It was not, again, not part of the referendum, it wasn't even part of the original scope of the work of that area, that street, and the whole thing is that if you're going to have something put in like that, that had to go, oop. Can you get the switch, please? It's afraid of me. And it's just, everything was done, and Bobby, and you're saying, and certain parts were absolutely true. They were legal, but it was illegally done. Mrs. Tarnowitz, like I said, hit everything on the button. You just can't decide as a subcommittee where to spend your money on anything. That has to come back here. There is a total violation of that. And again, along with the referendum, and I know there's other councilors that want to speak about it, but I gave my word to each one of those individuals on that street that I was going to come up, have to see about getting the sidewalks removed because of the way it was done. They didn't want them. I don't blame them. And to me, I think it was done just before an election. That's me personally thinking that. And I think it was wrong because there's people that live in those condo areas that are very close to certain people. I won't name them because they are nice people. I made my promise to them as I made my promise when I voted a meeting ago, It's my word. I gave it to them. I sat down with every one of them, and I'm keeping my word. And the last time I said I kept my word, I was called a moron by one of the Board of Education officers, because if you don't keep your word, I mean, if you keep your word, you should be credited for at least doing that. Okay? At least be credited for being a man enough and or / woman enough, them enough to say, I made my promise to you, I'm going to keep it. Until somebody calls you a moron, that's just really totally ridiculous. They're the moron. That's all I got to say for now, because I know there's other counselors that want to speak up. But I will be voting to have them removed.
Thank you, Councilman Finger. Councilman Ludwig.
You know, there's a lot of nice little intricacies to this. It's very interesting. I mean, I'll say that from just a public policy standpoint, and I won't get all, weird about it. Interesting, we're talking about the future, about referendums possibly doing modernization, some form. And I know, Chris, we've done a lot of these, and I want to say this to the mayor, to you. We take it very seriously when we put that information on the ballot. Whatever that the folks in the public are voting for, we take it. We're actually legally legally responsible for what's put on that ballot. And so, for me, it comes down beyond some of the other issues with the manager at the time, which I clearly feel overstepped her authority. The referendum is clear on Abbey Road. And the one going towards Ellington, that sidewalk was part of the referendum, but it'll be put in 2025. Down on the other end and going towards Broadbrook the other way, where we're talking about the sidewalk, it's clear there's no sidewalks part of that road referendum. It's clear it's not part of it. Unless I missed something, but I'm pretty sure I read it, and it doesn't say anything. It says catch basins, whether it's 22 feet, whatever. The referendum was clear what people were voting for when this passed in 2021. And for me, I take that seriously, because when we go and ask for, we talk a lot about money and how we're short on things. We're asking people to bond projects for 30 years. They need to be confident when they go and vote for that, because they're on the hook for 30 years or whatever it may be, that we're going to honor that contract with them. And it really is a contract between the council and the people of this town. That, for me, is the number one issue. It wasn't part of the referendum. I'm not arguing safety. There's good people in Abbeywood. Mrs. Brunel, I'm sure you've asked me questions on the railroad, which I know I didn't even give you a good answer on. And I'm not questioning the value. They're beautiful sidewalks. They did a great job. So look, I'm not arguing. I understand why folks down there want them. Completely get it. So I'm not arguing safety versus non. And by the way, for the record, when it comes to Abbey Road, I want traffic calming. Okay? I want to be clear. I've been pushing this for 4 years. I haven't asked for more sidewalks. I've asked for traffic calming. Because if I've been on those sidewalks a little farther down, and when those cars come screaming around a corner, the sidewalk's not going to protect anybody. So that's a whole nother issue when we talk about what we're talking about Abbey Road. I've been clear what I want at Abbey Road, and that's traffic calming. And so, having said all that, I think it's unfortunate. Look, it's unfortunate, but it depends, I guess, on what you feel our role or what you feel public policy is. I know for me, I try to be very consistent, and maybe I'm not 100% consistent. But for me, the ends can't justify the means. If that's the point, then I'm not sure as someone who's part of a governing body, I'm doing my job. And I get it. The ends are, they're in there, they're beautiful, they offer value to folks who use them, but the means to how they got there was incorrect. I'm not going to use words other than, which I probably could use some stronger words, but it wasn't handled properly. And there's people all over town, and I can already hear people are going to call me tonight asking for us to fix their sidewalks. They've been asking us for years in certain parts, and they're not all over town. And we keep saying, look, if it's not part of the referendum, we just don't have the money to do it. And here we spent approximately $40,000, roughly whatever it was. And when there's money left over in a referendum, I want to be clear to people, generally how it works, that money stays in that account. And we try to go do other roads that are in terrible shape, or we can do an overlay. We try to get as much bang for the taxpayer's buck, where there's I think probably right now 10, 13 to 15 roads still that haven't been done in 50 years that we haven't gotten to yet. And that's how this works. And again, I understand why the Abbeywood folks want it. but I can't, I'm sorry, when it comes to public policy, for me, I have to be disciplined about it. What I mean by that is that the ends can't justify the means were incorrect. And unfortunately, and I agree, and you know what, I agree, this is a waste of taxpayer money. Should have never gotten to this point. It is a complete, I agree with you, Zach, it's a complete waste of taxpayer money. But you know what? I agree with Councilor Finger. Unfortunately, those sidewalks got to come out, unless someone else is willing, because the town incorrectly also told them, by the way, that we're going to maintain those sidewalks. So we took an incorrect decision, and then we compounded it with another incorrect decision. Sorry, I can't let that go here. I apologize to the Abbeywood people, but I'm sorry, I support this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Pisner.
So I'm going to mimic what Councilor Ludwig just said. I've given this a lot of thought. I mean, this is probably one of the hardest decisions we've made because it is a waste of taxpayers' dollars. However, I am under the understanding that it's going to be happening in-house, and I'm also hopeful that these sidewalks can maybe be reused somewhere. I don't like the way it happened. And Mrs. Tarnowicz, you said it. We have to go through a process. If we want to put a new roof on, if we want to put an addition on, we have to go through a process in this town. And you were not given a fair shake. Now, do I agree that the sidewalks are nice? Yes, I do. Do I agree that they offer a safety? Am I a little worried about the liability? Yes, I am. But this is a scale of justice. And I mean, I wish we could figure out a way that we could make everybody happy, and I'm sure the Abbeywood people, but again, there's no sidewalks in your complex. Maybe if your contractor could come and do the sidewalks, I don't know. It could be an option. But I wish we could have come to a better agreement so that the sidewalks could have stayed, but I'm going to have to support the resolution to remove them.
Councilman Ungar.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a different point of view on this. I think the traffic in Abbeywood and Abbey Road is totally different. It's totally different. I've driven up there. I've looked all around there, got out of my car, walked on the sidewalk, and I live on Abbey Road. I consider where you live North Abbey, and I live on South Abbey, and I have a huge sidewalk in front of my house that we're responsible. And I'm even cautious walking when I used to walk my dog there, and when I walk there myself, it's very concerning. The cars go flying by, and right where this new sidewalk is, if you're coming out of Abbeywood, you look to your left, there's a little bit of a hill there. And people take that corner and they come flying around. So I think it's really unfortunate that you weren't given the courtesy and the call to say, this is what we're going to do, and you wake up one day and this is going on. I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree how it was handled, how it was done, and I understand the frustration. But now at this point, today, I'm concerned about the financial situation and all the taxpayers' money that built that sidewalk, and then now we're have to spend more money to take it up. That concerns me too. But more than that is the safety. The safety concerns me. I live on that street. I watch the cars go flying by, and that's a big concern. God forbid anything would happen. I just have a hard time with this. It's challenging all around. But I'm saying the traffic is different on Abbey than it is on Abbeywood. It's just different.
Councilman Finger.
And there's something I want to say to the council up here in this dais. Everybody's right, okay? Everybody's right. You know, it's not to the point of being right or wrong or what's the best or what's the worst. You're all right. So however anybody here votes tonight, there's no, you know what I'm saying, what do you want to call it, anger towards anybody if they don't vote this way. I respect your opinions, and I respect the way you're going to vote. So don't think that it's going to be like a pissing contest. Oh, is that? Can I say that?
You didn't, I didn't say it. So now we're, keep going. Might as well keep going.
I'm so sorry. You know what I'm saying? So just I just want you to know that however you do it, I will respect the way anybody votes. Just want to let everybody know. Thank you.
Councilman Ungar.
I'm also looking for a better solution than what we're offering right now. I'm hoping there's a lot of volunteers. We had the list of people that volunteer in town, and maybe we can get some of them to find their way over where you live. and there's a lot of groups and organizations. So I'm still thinking about that we could, if I vote no on this, to come up with something else that would help you.
All set?
Yes.
Thank you, Councilman Ungary. Councilman Santinella.
Yeah, thank you. Just through the mayor to the town attorney, I have one more question. So if we remove the sidewalks, we are making the area less safe, the liability, we bear more liability, correct?
That would be a theory that is
Okay.
certainly plausible, and more plausible now because you put in the sidewalks to make it more safe and less dangerous. So it stands to reason if you take out the sidewalks, you're making it less safe and more dangerous.
Thank you.
Councilman Mangini.
Thank you. I am not going to support removing sidewalks. I think Councilman Crisati summed it up and gave the detail very succinctly. And in addition, there is some liability exposure once we do that. And the cost. You know, we're scrimping here and there, denying education, and now we're going to be throwing money into tearing things up. This kind of governance has got to stop, so I'm totally against this.
All set, Cindy?
Yep.
Councilman Hendrickson.
All right, through the mayor to the town attorney, putting these sidewalks in, was it a violation of the charter?
That's a difficult one for me to answer because it all occurred well before I started, and also even the emoluments was already decided before I started. So I don't have enough information. I've heard tonight from everything that's been said. If everything was said that's accurate by Councilman Ludwig, then I'd say it wasn't done properly. Whether it came to be a charter violation or a procedural issue, if everything Mike said is accurate, then there was a lot of problems with the way that this was handled. So that's all I can say about that. From my point, when it started, when my involvement was with regard to the town manager making the promise that the town is now going to shovel somebody's sidewalks, and that exceeded the scope of her authority clearly. But that's not the question you asked, so I hope I've answered as best I can.
Okay, I'm seeing this as a total mess, to be honest with you. I've heard about mistakes, I've heard about precedent, amalgamates, everything, and it seems like if we leave them there or try to clear them, perhaps it just makes more mistakes in my eyes. I'll be voting to take these out, which is a shame, I agree, but the way this is handled, and I know there's a cost to money here, but if we continue to reward subcommittees spending money without going through the proper thing, it's going to cost more money. So this should shut that down, that this is not the way to handle anything with handling taxpayer money. It's not the right thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no further questions. So if you vote yes, you're voting to remove the sidewalks. Okay? Roll call, please.
Counselor Crisati.
No.
Counselor Finger.
Yes.
Oops, sorry, my pen is going out. Counselor Hendrickson.
4, yes.
Counselor Ludwig.
Yes.
Counselor Mangini.
Against.
Counselor Nasuda.
Yes.
Mayor Nelson.
No.
Deputy Mayor Pisner.
Yes.
Counselor Santinella.
No.
Counselor Ungary.
Against.
That's 5 in favor, 5 against. The motion fails.
No.
Does it fail or stay?
Hold on,
Fails.
it fails.
It
It
stays.
stays, right. So just to clarify for why it failed, other than the tie, but we need.
Because we need a minimum of 6 votes.
Thank you. Yeah, let everyone know.
Okay, moving on to the new business consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any questions on the consent agenda?
Nope.
Seeing none, all in favor? Doug? Lori? Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you. Now we're going to move on to Appointments, town council appointed, and I'll entertain a motion for the Inlands and Wetlands Watercourse Agency.
Motion.
Second.
Motion's made, no, a motion.
Oh.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Are there any other nominations? Second.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor of closing nominations? Okay. I've had the privilege of watching inland wetlands, and I hate to say this a little more than I wish I had to, but I have to say that I don't know this gentleman personally, but I think he's one of the most knowledgeable people sitting on wetlands. I don't care what his party affiliation is. He is a great person for this board, and I support him 100%, and I ask that you do the same. Any other comments? None? Roll call, please.
Counselor Crisati.
4.
Counselor Finger.
Kevin Zorda.
Counselor Hendrickson.
4.
Counselor Ludwig.
4.
Counselor Mangini.
Kevin Zorda.
Counselor Nasuda.
4.
Mayor Nelson.
Kevin Zorda.
Deputy Mayor Pisner. 4. Counselor Santinella.
4.
And Counselor Ungary.
4.
10 in favor, none against.
Thank you. Moving on, North Central Health District Board of Directors, Enfield Representatives. The term of office for Brandon Jewell, Democrat, expires on 6/30/24. Reappointment will be until 6/30/27.
Move
I'd
to,
like to nominate, oh, I'm sorry, did you want?
yeah, I move to nominate Brandon Jewell for
I'll
reappointment.
second that.
Okay, any other nominations? Seeing-
Move to close nominations.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor of closing? Okay, roll call, please.
Counselor Crisati.
4.
Counselor Finger.
Brandon Joel.
Counselor Hendrickson.
4.
Counselor Ludwig.
4.
Counselor Mangini.
Brandon Jewell.
Counselor Nasuda.
4.
Mayor Nelson.
4.
Deputy Mayor Pisner. 4. Counselor Santinella.
4.
And Counselor Ungary.
4.
10 in favor, none against.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this resolution determines the number of early voting locations for the upcoming August 2024 state primary election. There is no budget impact. The recommendation is that the town council adopt this resolution. We have to do this before each election comes up. Whereas the state of Connecticut is allowing municipalities over the population of 20,000 to the option of having a second early voting location. Be it resolved that the Enfield Town Council does hereby accept the Enfield Register of Voters plan of having one central location for early voting at the Enfield Town Hall, 820 Enfield Street, effective Tuesday, August 13th, 2024. Further, be it resolved that in accordance with the state statutes and the Secretary of State's office will be notified of this acceptance. Date prepared 5/23/2024, prepared by Louis Fiore and Tom Kensler, Register of Voters.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. So I do have a report from the Registers of Voters that said the last one that we approved for the one location, they received 127 early voters coming in. They are both unanimous on keeping it one poll, but I do ask that maybe before we get into the big election in November, being a presidential, we bring them back in and let them update us on how this went and determine whether we need a second one or not. So if everybody's good with that, roll call.
Counselor Crisati.
4.
Counselor Finger.
4.
Counselor Hendrickson.
4.
Counselor Ludwig.
4.
Counselor Mangini.
4.
Counselor Nasuda.
4.
Mayor Nelson.
4.
Deputy Mayor Pisner. 4. Counselor Santinella.
4.
And Counselor Ungary.
4.
10 in favor, none against.
Okay, next is a request to appropriate additional funds for the Uniform Relocation Act. Their budget impact, this item will increase the fiscal year 24 budget. Recommendation that the Enfield Town Council approve the following resolution. Certification, I hereby certify that the above stated funds are available as of May 30th, 2024 by John A. Wilcox, Director of Finance. Be it resolved that in accordance with Chapter 6, Section 8F of the Town Charter, the following transfer is made from appropriated fund balance, $50,000, general fund, non-departmental expenditures, transfer out and contingencies, to transfer to social services $50,000, the social services fund, care coordination. General fund transfers in $50,000. Social services fund care coordination to miscellaneous expenditures, $50,000. Date prepared 5/30/24. Prepared by Cynthia Guerreri, Department of Social Services.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Now we got an update on that downstairs with a great presentation. I think maybe if we put that on the town's website.
We will. What the council had given to them this evening, we didn't have the benefit of last time to give an explanation of the requirements of this program, how we comply with it. There's a very good public service announcement that they have put together. Our former clerk, Brendan Duquette, did a great job on it with Cindy, which really informs people. We'll put that up. There's a link, and it tells them not only how to apply, but how to, shepherd through the process. Then there's also a separate presentation which explains the law under Connecticut and the federal law that requires us to do it. And so with that representation, I'd ask the council to support it. That's for this year, and we had put it in the next year. Normally it's about $20,000 a year, and the council approved that in the budget, so we should be good going forward, knock on wood.
Right. I think we all learned a lot, kind of forced us to learn a lot. And I want to thank Cindy for the time that she put into the presentation and getting the information that we were asking for. Councilman Ludwig.
Glad we're going to put on the website through the mayor to town manager. Just throwing it out there, can we do that video on ETV? Can it run on ETV? Or, I mean, it was well done.
Yes.
It was well done, and I don't know if you...
It's not open for everybody.
Right, exactly, right. I'm just saying,
Right.
but I mean, I think, again, it's information. If it was nice it's important information, so.
Between Cindy
Well, we share
and...
the credit. Thank you, Cindy.
Yes. We'll make sure, coordinate with Cheryl in my office. Yeah. The little inside baseball there, Cheryl, Cindy, some of us have a difficulty with those two names, me included.
Councilman Santinella.
Yeah, so through the mayor to the town manager or to Cindy, I'm not sure which. Is it possible to use a translator to do that video in Spanish also, or other language options that might be germane to members of the community? I think you can just do it with a translator, right?
Well, we have to get it, the right translation, and we're already working on it.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Si, senor. Councilman Crisati.
Just one comment, and this is going to go to Cindy, alias Cheryl. Once again, stepping up to the plate, so to say, and really educating everybody here on the dais in regard to the importance of this. And Attorney Tyler, for instructing Mr. Bromson to move forward and not hold this. This was the right thing to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob. Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Counselor Crisati.
4.
Counselor Finger.
4.
Counselor Hendrickson.
4.
Counselor Ludwig.
4.
Counselor Mangini.
4.
Counselor Nasuda.
4.
Mayor Nelson.
4.
Deputy Mayor Pisner. 4. Counselor Santinella.
4.
And Counselor Ungary.
4.
10 in favor, none against.
Do you have it? I don't
It's right there, 14E. But this was the one.
see. I got 14F. Okay, moving on.
That's different. That's the one that was in our packet. That was, that you said was a name.
So we're going to move on to Social Services Boards and Commissions transfers. Be it resolved that in accordance with Chapter 6, Section 8F of the Town Charter, the following transfer is hereby made from Social Services Boards and Commissions, Allied Rehabilitation Centers, $12,750, to Social Services Boards and Commissions, Amplify, Inc., $7,544, Kite, $531, and Loaves and Fishes, $4,675. Date prepared 5/23/24, prepared by Cindy Guerreri, Director. So moved?
So moved.
Second.
Thank
I
you.
have a question, though.
Hold on. Can we have Cindy come forward and discuss why from leadership to the final resolution in the packet?
Cheryl, please come up
different.
and answer the questions truthfully and to the best of your ability.
My name is Cheryl Guerreri.
Thank you.
So this is really just a housekeeping to line up on the recommended awarded amounts to what was in the proposed budget. The timing is what the issue is. So the subcommittee, the Social Service Subcommittee of Town Council met at the beginning of April, I think it was April 2nd or 3rd, reviewed the applications, made their recommendations, and then each was going to bring back the recommendations to their caucus. From there, it didn't get into the proposed budget, so now we have to true it up with the recommended awards. What went into the budget was the it was the adopted FY24 budget that did not reflect the revised budget of 24 that trued it up last year. So it's kind of a rolling true up.
And I will just mention that Marie had asked about this morning. John Wilcox gave us the answer, but it was in the afternoon. I sent it to everybody on the council. I'm sure you didn't have an opportunity to review it, but it reflects what Cindy has said.
Okay. Councilman Mangini.
Thank you. Thank you, Cindy. I can't support this. It looks, well, it's black and white, that we're taking money, necessary funds, from Allied Rehab and reallocating those funds to Amplify, Kite, Loaves and Fishes. Granted, those other groups are well in need of funds, but to borrow from Peter to pay Paul is not cutting it. I just can't, endorse something like this.
So actually, Allied Rehabilitation Centers did not apply this year. So it's taking the money that was awarded last year in your budget book and allocating it to completely fund Amplify, Kite, Loaves and Fishes at the level that you wanted to. So nobody's not getting funded. They didn't apply.
Is there a reason why they didn't apply? Did anybody reach out to them?
We always, every year, we say, hey, it's that time of year again. That happens in January.
That seems odd because I would think, especially with the needs that are growing, that they would have reached out.
In my 4 years here, they've only applied once.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Crissati. You had your hand up, right, Bob? No? Councilman Ludwig.
I appreciate the rolling, term. I mean, pretty good explanation. And again, I appreciate, again, the detail here, and it's good to know that, if folks don't apply, there's money for other groups that, and that's okay. I mean, that's great. I mean, so again, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
And all the applications go into Apricot.
Right. There you go.
It's another use of that system.
You are on fire. And again, I appreciate, when people over Apricot, this is based on, we're trying to make decisions based on data.
Yep.
And so I appreciate you mentioning that, because, we were pretty proud of that a few years ago, doing it, and And I go, so folks know that you are trying to see what the needs of the community are and how do we address it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Councilman Hendrickson.
All right, just a quick question. So these were the only 3 that applied, or no? Because I'm on the
These
food
are-
shelf, I'm
so
assuming.
these are, so the list is actually, so the way I did it originally, apparently I was not correct, and Mr. Wilcox had to correct me. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 agencies that will be awarded funds. Some of those were already in your carry, your rolling forward. This is just kind of truing it up.
Okay, thank you for the explanation. I got it.
Councilman Santinella.
Cindy,
Go ahead when
just
you
for
get a
clarification,
chance.
this is because the funding for multiple organizations was cut by 15% in the budget, right? That we're making these adjustments to true up to those new numbers. That's what your narrative says, right?
It's truing up the ones that weren't already accurate. So for
Correct.
example.
But all of the organizations in the budget
Yep.
have 15% less money this year than they did last year.
Correct.
Thanks.
Yes.
Anyone else? Councilman Mangini, again.
Thank you, Cindy, for your hard work. I can't support this. Still, a 15% reduction at our budget passing is something I still haven't been able to process. It's wrong, so I won't be supporting this. Through no fault of yours, that's how the chips fell. But I can't support a 15% or endorse the 15% reduction. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Mangini. Seeing no other questions, roll call, please.
Counselor Crisati?
No.
Counselor Finger?
Yes.
Counselor Hendrickson?
4.
Counselor Ludwig?
4.
Counselor Mangini?
Against.
Counselor Nasuda?
4.
Mayor Nelson?
4.
Deputy Mayor Pisner? 4. Counselor Santinella?
No.
And Counselor Ungary? 4. 7 in favor, 3 against.
Thank you, Sheila. The next one is a resolution authorizing the town manager to submit applications to the state of Connecticut for the 2024 Neighborhood Assistance Act. There is no budget impact. The recommendation is the council adopt the following resolution. Be it resolved, the Enfield town manager or his designee is hereby authorized to submit the 3 proposed grants for the Hazardville Institute Conservancy Society, Inc., 1 program, and Opera House Players, Inc., 2 programs, to the State of Connecticut Department of Revenue Services under the provision of the Neighborhood Assistance Act, and to approve any donations received as a result of this submission. Date prepared 5/23/24, prepared by the Office of Economic and Community Development.
So moved.
Questions, comments, or concerns? Councilman Ludwig.
Through the mayor to the town manager, do we actually ever get, a list of businesses that actually will submit to do this? I mean, Karen, I thought gave a good explanation. Just curious, do we get notified because?
I'll mark that down. It's a very good question, because the reason I wasn't as conversant, I hadn't done it in a couple of years. I
Right,
knew we
no,
did
sure.
it, and I thank Karen for her very able explanation. And we will check tomorrow at our staff meeting, follow up, how many people apply and what are the results. It would be good for us to know.
The way she explained it, and again, this was, I actually learned something new. If Organization X decides that, I guess it's up to 150,000 per
Yep.
project. So if Organization X says, they're very close to finishing the Hazardville Institute, it's almost open, we're going to donate 100,000, and then basically they're just not paying that tax to the
Right.
state. I mean, I actually didn't realize it worked that way, and that actually is pretty cool. And why wouldn't more local businesses do that? I mean, I'm sorry, you send it to the state, it goes into the general fund, who knows where the money goes.
You can designate where you want it to go.
Exactly. It's actually a really, the way you explain it, I don't know if there's a way we can, so we can highlight so businesses know, hey, look.
Yeah. We'll look.
Appreciate you
We'll
spending
look
your-
to see
Yeah.
empirically who's applied and what the results have been.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think Karen did a phenomenal
agree. I
job
have to admit, I learned
explaining
something new.
Yeah, yeah. Any other questions? Councilman Finger.
I'll make it quick. So this says that there's no budget impact. So we're going to give permission that you sign off to put in those applications, but it's not going to be any money out of the taxpayers, and it's nothing.
Correct. It's like a lot of the grants we do for private and nonprofit. We have to, as the governing authority, say, yes, we put our imprimatur on it in order for it to go forward. And in this case, there's no budget impact. It's completely between the state and these individuals, but our local people that they designate where they want it to go are helped. So it's as Mike and Ken said, it was a great presentation, very illuminating. Having not looked at it in the last couple of years, it looks like an impressive program. So we'll follow the background, and then maybe we can promote it some more, because it seems to be a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Seeing no other questions, roll call, please.
Counselor Crisati.
4.
Counselor Finger.
4.
Counselor Hendrickson.
4.
Counselor Ludwig.
4.
Counselor Mangini.
4.
Counselor Nasuda.
4.
Mayor Nelson.
4.
Deputy Mayor Pisner. 4. Counselor Santinella.
4.
And Counselor Ungary. 4. 10 in favor, none against.
Moving on, items for discussion. Seeing none, any other business proper to come before said meeting? Seeing none. Public communications only applies if prior to 11 p.m. I read the rules in the beginning of the meeting. Would anyone like to come up and speak to the council? Seeing none. Moving on to councilman communications. Holy smokes. Seeing none.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor? All right. Everyone have a great night.